What's up, airplane collectors? Welcome to a model airplane review. It's your host, Ray. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the Gemini Jet's 1-400 scale Flair Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. In this video, I'll talk about the box, the model itself, and at the end of the video, I will give my personal opinion about what I think of the model and whether or not I recommend it to other collectors. The box is a standard issue Gemini Jet's 1-400 scale narrow body box at 15 centimeters lengthwise and height-wise and 4.5 centimeters wide. I'll show you around the box now, so here's the front, bottom, right side, top, left side, and the back. This box features a flap that allows the collector to view the model in the box, and under this flap is a bit of information about the 737 MAX family. Take a moment to read this if you'd like to. Once you open up the box, you get the model fully painted and assembled and ready to go. Before I begin the review, I'm going to give you a quick 360 of the model. The fuselage length for this model is 10 centimeters, the wingspan is 9 centimeters, and it's about 3.5 centimeters tall. Relatively small and accurate to 1-400 scale. This model is made primarily out of die-cast metal, so it's a little bit heavy for its size as well. Starting up the review at the nose section of the plane, here we can see the front section of the fuselage. Nose shape looks pretty good, as per usual with the Gemini Jet 737 MAX mold. They've had a good shape consistently for the most part. Fuselage also looks pretty good. Printed detail looks pretty good and extensive as well. No issues there. As we move down the fuselage, we can see the giant Flair title. This looks pretty good. You can see a bit more detail here. No issues yet. I don't notice any issues with paint application. There's a little scratch here. Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's a piece of dust. Sorry. Yeah, no issues with paint application down the fuselage, and everything looks pretty good so far. Here's the vertical stabilizer. It looks pretty good. Shape looks good. The green dot here looks good. I'd like to comment on the green color of the aircraft as well. It's pretty good. I've heard a bit of, I've read a bit of speculation online, but to me it looks within acceptable margins, so that's my opinion on that. Moving down the right side of the aircraft, it's virtually the same as the left side, so I won't provide much commentary, but I'll say this, everything that can be said about the left side can also be said about the right side. So far, everything looks pretty good. Moving on to the wings are pretty nicely detailed, and overall they look pretty good. There's plenty of molded, printed, and painted detail to go around. You can see the control surfaces are clearly defined with the molded detail. Paint doesn't fill up any of the gaps there, which is very nice. Printed detail looks solid. No issues on application there, it looks like. And the wingtips are actually really nice. Here you can see the green wingtip, if my camera would focus. Yeah, green wingtip looks good, no issues there. And on the inside, there is a Flair logo on both sides. Here's the one on the right side, and the one on the left side looks pretty good as well. So very nice job on the wings too. The bottom of the wings, of course, they don't have as much detail. They don't have any printed detail, but they do have some molded and painted detail. Looks pretty good so far here too. Moving to the rear of the aircraft, here we can see the horizontal stabilizers and the APU. Everything looks pretty good back here. Horizontal stabilizers look good. No complaints there. No issues on paint application, it seems, too, which is very nice. The bottom here, we can see the, what's it called? This thing, I'm not sure. I forgot what that's called. And the APU access doors. It looks like we have our first slight issue here. That might have actually been my fault, now that I think of it. But it seems as though some of the green paint has scratched off a little bit there. Very small issue, but yeah, the paint did scratch on this part here, and there's also a little bit of a bubble right here from the paint application. I've never seen that on a Gemini Jet's model, which is a bit strange. There's also a little bit of inconsistency with the alignment of the line here with the paint. You can kind of see some of it sticks out there. Very small imperfections, but things that do need to be noted. Now for the engines. The engines have been an area of a lot of observation by us collectors because Gemini Jets has historically, well, not historically, but recently had a notorious habit of having the engines bent upwards on their 737 MAX models. This one is definitely not the case. That both engines are actually aligned very well. I'll show you the right one in a little bit. But yeah, the engines look really good. Shape looks good. Printed detail looks pretty good and extensive, especially at the bottom end here. And the fan blades look pretty good as per usual. No complaints on the engines, which is very impressive and very rare for Gemini these days. So quality control has been pretty consistent and good on this model throughout, minus the little paint scratches that I pointed out in the rear section. Here you can see the bottom of the engine. You can kind of see there's a lot of glue going on here between the engine pylon and the wing. Not saying that it's too much, but it is a little bit more than I had anticipated. In terms of aerial features, this model has antennas, two of which are at the top of the aircraft, and there are no more on the aircraft. There's a large antenna right here at the center of the fuselage and a small one right next to the vertical stabilizer. These look pretty good. I haven't seen any issues with them. The alignment is a little bit questionable on the one in the rear, but the one in the center looks just fine, so I won't complain too much on those. Here's the bottom of the aircraft. We actually have a lot going on down here, which is pretty nice. Also, before I start talking though, I'd like to note that the paint here looks pretty good where the stripes align. I don't notice any issues with alignment, which is pretty rare nowadays. It's very nice that they got the alignment correct. But here there is a large Flair logo with the .com there. At first this looked really scary to me because I saw these two gray spots here, but those are just printed details that are part of the aircraft. They are not stains. And on that subject, everything down here looks pretty nicely detailed. Very good job on the printed detail on Gemini's part. And we'll move straight to the landing gear from here. The landing gear on this model are pretty nicely detailed. All of the wheels roll very smoothly, which is very rare for Gemini these days. And the outside of the main landing gears are painted black, like on the real aircraft, which that is a very nice detail to see. Here's the nose gear. Nose gear looks pretty solid. The rims are painted white, which I've never seen before. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate, but it still is a very nice touch, which is pretty cool. And the nose wheel does roll smoothly as well. It's also aligned pretty well. Well, obviously, you can kind of see that it's leaning to one side, but when I put it on the ground, it's pretty good after that. Okay, so I kind of lied about that landing gear positioning and the nose gear. The wheel is definitely a little bit slanted, but it's okay. I can barely see that. But it's still kind of an issue that's on the plane. Here we can see the cockpit window printing, wing flex, and engine clearance. All of those look really good. Historically, Gemini hasn't had a problem with wing flex on this mold, and this model reflects that. Engine clearance looks good. Both of them look pretty much aligned. I don't notice any tilting really. And the cockpit window printing looks symmetrical, so that's also something pretty rare nowadays. Very nice to see. Well, that concludes my review. Now it's time for my personal opinion recommendation. This model has certainly blown me away because Gemini Jets, as of recent years, hasn't really had very good quality control at all, yet this model is damn near textbook perfection. Those little scratches at the bottom of the plane, those are very small imperfections compared to what else is on the market these days. And the only real problem that I had with this specific model is the alignment of the nose wheel, and that really isn't the biggest thing, so I'll let that one slide just a little bit. But yeah, everything looks really good, and what impressed me the most was I bought this at the Grayland Station store in Chicago, and this is the very first one that I opened. So I'm going to guess that most of these, if not all of them, had pretty solid quality control. So in short, I'm very impressed at what Gemini has done here. They did a pretty good job on this model. Therefore, I do recommend this model to other collectors, though, as per usual, what I say with Gemini, proceed with caution. You never know what set of quality control issues you'll get, but this one seems to be pretty good, so very well done on Gemini's part. I am thoroughly impressed and satisfied as well. This is certainly a pleasant surprise from Gemini. If only they could keep this up with all of their models, but their quality still keeps going down, so yeah, that's why I say proceed with caution. Well, that's all I've got for you guys for today. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, this review is a little bit shorter than my other ones. That's great. Stay tuned for more model airplane reviews. I have a few more videos coming, and that's that. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care of yourselves. See you in my next video. See you later.